All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to see for its local search and for its city search if it's got BSS, yes or no. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes, one, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search for the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows into Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. They got to go page. Basically, any buyer's got to go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're going to kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus of this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. people are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot 1. We got organic slot 1. We got organic 2. We got organic. So slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. Let's see this boudoir photography business, see if they got their local search or their city search, see if they got BSS for either of those. So we're going to East Hampton, Mass. All right. Going up here, East Hampton. All right, so let's see what we got here. Dun, dun, dun. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And all right, so we got, all right, good. Local, we got 3. Got our recommended, we do not have BSS. We hit the 3 out of 10 recommended minimum. All right, now we're going to Springfield, Mass. Let's see what we're cooking up here. So, all right, we're at 0 out of 10 for our city search. So we got BSS for this one. So let's see. All right, so local search, we ain't got BSS, and we did reach the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. City search, we got 0 out of 10 slots, city search. So yes, we got BSS, and we are not meeting the recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search for the city search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, your city searches for the highest attempt boudoir buyer keywords for your area, and you either got 0 or 1 slots, for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. And so you do see that, oh, we actually can't take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you see an S-key methodology is the only way forward. Best solution for you. Best and only solution for you. And you've been waiting for something like this. You like the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 Google. You really like the more slots actually kicks competitors off as well. Makes them invisible, puts them on page 2 to 10, makes them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace, the bulk of the market. And as a result, you're also looking ahead. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, peeps get new gear, they upgrade their gear, they become boudoir photographers, blah, blah, blah. But you're also seeing AI is taking people's jobs right now already. AI is going to get better and better, which means it's going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. So like, exactly like COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. Everyone's got a super smartphone with ultra camera. Very easy for anyone to become boudoir photographer. You're like, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace now. And so you're looking ahead, you're like, man, I don't need only these links on Google search. I actually need to fortify my position page one Google search literally has so many links on page one that Google wants to rank them on page one, but there's not enough space, and they got to go literally like push them onto page 2, 3, or 4. And so you want that fortification, that kind of the overflowing of links, to essentially prevent any current boudoir photographer from basically ever ranking on page one Google search again, and also any future boudoir photographer that comes from AI taking their job from ever hopping on, ever be able to rank page one Google search ever again. So you're liking that future benefit, fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And as a result, you are also thinking about and understanding that executing SQ methodology every single day is, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of plugging into your business name, brand name, social handles, website name, your name, out there on the internet, kind of cyberspace, invisibly. And as we build these up, we're building up this like back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum, which contributes to showing up here in AI overview. So every day we kind of execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI overview displays us, which is the most premium slot here. It's the first slot, cannot pay for it, it's organic only. We're also increasing the probability that AI search apps recommend us as well. And when that happens, we're higher chance of being recommended ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Google or Microsoft Copilot. And AI search getting bigger and bigger every single day. More and more people using it every single day. So it's becoming more and more important. So it's kind of like a back-end future benefit. Well, we're kind of going to be going for page one Google search first, because that's still the king. But AI is growing every single day, so it's a back-end kind of parallel benefit of doing SQ methodology. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers with an AI search app. I used ChatGPT, looked for someone in a city. ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then did the standard Google search and like Facebook search, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we need to find any way possible to get recommended here. Again, SQ methodology is the only solution that enables this in a relatively quick way, or relatively quick increase in probability. And so you're liking those future benefits. You also like the estimated, 8x speed up of creating a large, well-known brand compared to traditional methods. It's because has much more volume on many different surfaces. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you decide to be first mover, so you can actually get all these benefits, and more importantly, prevent your competitors from getting these benefits and keep them, page 2 or deeper, which is the goal. Keep them invisible and disappearing, keep their business disappearing. And when you actually, you're thinking, if conversely, one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signed out with me first, they'd actually be getting all the links. You would actually be relegated to page 2 or deeper. We'd have so many links, we would make sure to do our best efforts so you could never rank page 1 again. We'd be building up their backend AI mindshare, keyword mindshare for their brand, for them to be recommended AI overview, AI search. And we'd be building up such a big gap that in order for you to compete, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own. And when you do that, you would then also need to, then execute every single day, same as us. But even if you did all those things, the gap would still remain the same size. Because we'd be executing every day as well. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output. And when you do that, you'd have to, well, you wouldn't even be 100% confident to put in the time to double or triple our output, because still you wouldn't even know if you've derived the methodology of the technology correctly in the first place. And think about all the stuff you're realizing, screw that. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You ain't got 80 hours in a day to do all this stuff. So you're deciding, screw that. And you're deciding to hop on first, be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when the hospital opens for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.